Hello, this is Imbakadero speaking. Today we are going to talk about FireMonkey Styles. This will be great fun for us all because Eugene Kryukov, a FireMonkey architect, has joined us today. If you missed a previous webinar with Kryukov, I recommend you to download and read the script very carefully. Because Eugene and me were discussing the fundamentals of FireMonkey and main advantages and capabilities of this new platform. One of the big capabilities of FireMonkey is the ability to use styles. Last time Eugene told us what FireMonkey styles were. Then we played with the styles using Controls demo project by ourselves. But please don't think that styles are designed only for look and feel. But of course, great stunning interface is the best proof of your competence as a developer. But in addition, the very styles can help you to design and develop the multi-platform projects. And even on Mac OS, your applications will look like a native Mac OS programs. This is because of FireMonkey Styles. And thus, the first three questions to Eugene: what the styles are, what are they designed for, and how should we use them properly. Hello, my name is Eugene. Thank you for the invitation, and let me start. I'm going to talk you a little story about my experience in making styles. This tale is not very long, but will set you to a proper context. For all my life, I have been trying to make my user interfaces the most flexible, because from time to time the necessities differ if we talk about different users. So my clients often asked for different personal settings. Sometimes these requests were simple, like maybe color of a component and the color of the font. Of course, these alignments were easy to make, but they were not universal and very limited in capabilities. They didn't allow to change the shape or maybe some visual effects of the control. Then we used the skinning technology. In this case, we could considerably change the look and feel and even improve the design of the application. Of course, this was a step forward, but with some limitation and special limitation to the graphics, which should be prepared before. And once a skin was done, you won't be able to change a pixel dynamically, and of course the shape of the controls. The restrictions were too great not to find the other approach. The quite near idea for the new approach was the concept of a frame, some region which can be added to the form, and within it we can locate the other visual components. A form inside the other form. Frames are very universal and allow the developer to achieve practically any possible effects. But we wanted to concentrate on look and feel and some visual effects. The frame itself can include not only visual components but some code, and the too universal and too complicated structure of components with their code is not okay for our purposes. We all wanted simpler code-free technology to achieve the same purposes. and frames are dependent on the compiled code, so it's quite a problem to change the style dynamically for the application which is already run. So current FireMonkey Styles as a technology is a well-balanced compromise between effectiveness and simplicity. Thus, if we talk a component has its style, it means that the control has a set of FireMonkey objects inside it. The control has the components, they live within the component, and they work inside this control. For example, a button is a shell, and hidden components live inside the button and work inside it. You can see that my taskbar is located in the top because I am working with a virtual machine, and let's consider a simple example explaining the styles in FireMonkey. FireMonkey style defines the objects living and working inside the component. Let's open some file with the FireMonkey style and see the internal structure. What you see is rather similar to the text. If you click on the form and view as text, but instead of T-form you'll see the name of a style. And then you see T layout. T layout indicates that there is some region with no visual effects. It's a container. T layout is like an invisible glue box. So we have one big container which is the style itself, and many internal containers, T layout for particular visual control. And of course our style can be stored in many different places. And this is a trick, but a very good trick. I've just located T layout, a style on a form in design time, and this style contains two different substyles for recontrol T button. What the style is? We're talking about style for a button. Let's run the application and we'll see how the styles are shown and applied to three particular buttons. Let's take the first button and consider how its style is designed and applied. You can see the T layout object, and this T layout object combines all the objects within the button. In order to identify this particular style, we set the property style name, and this style name is used when a component tries to find its style. The search of the style is executed depending on the style name, and there's some idea. I'll touch upon this later. And now we have an object T layout for this particular button number 1. And then you can see some components like a rectangle which make the button visible. But the button itself as a component doesn't know how to draw itself and how to react on some external events. Of course, the button can naturally execute on-click events and do some things, but has no idea about how to draw itself. And this is typical for controls which have a parent class T-styled control. They are just containers. And now we are going to discuss how a particular style is applied to a particular control. We have a button, and when we change the property style lookup in the object inspector, and then the system starts searching the object with this particular value of the property style name. If property style name and style lookup match in value, then the internal objects are cloned. So we have the exact copy of the object inside the button. Of course, the properties of the internal objects are realigned. Look, initially our button has a property text, but indeed no internal object. When an appropriate style is applied, the button can insert the text value into the text object and thus draw itself. Quite often we are asked why do we clone the internal objects instead of using a reference to them. Of course, that's the solution, and there are many solutions, and we can use references to objects rather than their copies. Let me just show how it works. I'm showing, of course, the method of copying, which is realized in FireMonkey. If we use the same style, the new button will get the copy of all the same objects inside. So, copying versus referencing. Now we have many copies of the same objects, but all the properties are already calculated. For referencing, we would have to recalculate the values of properties by references many times, which might cause to decrease of performance. And please take into account that FireMonkey controls can have some effects, and all the effects would be recalculated for any particular control, and this would take too much time and might restrict the developer. We don't want to do. We don't want to delay the reaction response or maybe repainting of FireMonkey controls. So it's not just words, it's practice, and we have rather optimized the current model. This style is applied to a component only if it is visible. If a component is covered by the other component or located on some invisible panel or outside the form, it is not visible, the style is not applied, and the component is empty. If the control becomes visible, the style is applied and all the internal objects are created, and vice versa. If the object becomes invisible, the style is destroyed and the object is empty. But we are not going to freeze this particular technology. We are going to continue developing the approach, and quite soon we'll reuse the object. For example, one becomes invisible, the other becomes visible, so we just change the references and reuse the initial object. And that's why we clone the objects. Let's go on and consider how a style defines the visual behavior of the control by changing effects or adding effects or animation. Okay, let's define the change of the button as a result of mouse move. We have color animation. It's quite simple. We have the start color, the stop color, we have a trigger, so the triggering event, and we have two triggers, trigger and trigger inverse for mouse over and mouse leave, for example. So it's easy to reproduce, and we use this color effect to change the look, the appearance of the button when mouse is over, and this effect is applied to the rectangle. And if we want to indicate the button is pressed, we use a so-called glow effect. The same idea is applied to the effects. So the effect also has a trigger, so the effect is enabled and works when a particular event happens. So by default the effect is disabled, and when necessary the effect is enabled, and the effect is calculated by GPU. But you should already understand that a particular component waits for a specific structure of a style which is going to be applied to it. A particular button doesn't know the exact structure of the style, but it does expect the presence of the style inside the set of objects. So in this case the button will use the style name to find the particular object inside it. If it doesn't, it won't be able to change the property. But if it is set properly, the functionality will be restored and the button shows the proper text. But let's consider a critical case for the sake of understanding. We have a style which doesn't have the internal object text. The button expects the text object, but if the style doesn't, the button won't have text. But without any tragedy, because FireMonkey treats this situation correctly. But please don't think that this theory is about only buttons. For example, I can take some T-panel, and the T-panel inherits from T-style control, so the same is valid for T-panel, which initially doesn't have some internal structure at all. Let's change the style for this particular panel, and we'll see that the panel is naturally empty. Will change its structure, and it will behave like a button, because the style defines not only the internal structure but the visual effects and reaction to some events. But anyhow, the structure of a style is not arbitrary for the specific component class. And if we take some complicated component like T-edit, it will expect from a style some specific set of internal objects like content, selection, background, and other necessary objects. Of course, it will reproduce the design of the button style, but it can accept some input, but the reaction is not typical for T-edit. So the structure of the object should correspond to some functionality, but effects or animation can be easily changed, and you won't spoil the particular component. And in order to start the understanding the FireMonkey styles, you can just play with visual effects like me at the moment. Maybe change some purely visual properties and make the button gradient, for example. We've changed the static property, but we can change the dynamic behavior, like to add some glow effect for mouse activity. The rule is you should apply one bitmap effect to one object, not two to one object. If you want to achieve the combination of some effects, please choose different object inside the same container. It's quite sensible not to get a crazy mixture of some different bitmap effects with no beauty. And now we are changing the behavior of our button if the mouse cursor is over the button. So our trigger will be mouse over true. We can change properties as we would like to get the necessary effect and see in design time how it works, and even apply it in design time. But we need just to reload the style to see the applied effects. But the button still misses the text. We need to add the t-text component to the button. As usual, we are setting some position and some alignment. Just for fun, we can make the text rotated a little, and then we should title the object for the button to know what is it. In order to see the changes in design time, we should reload the designer, and finally we can see that our button looks like a button with some text. But this is not complete. Please be attentive. When we move the mouse, we see that the effect switches on and then switches off. So the effect disappears if the cursor is over the text. So it means that the text takes the event, and this is not wanted for us. We should set hit test to false to make them transparent to some events. Thus, we have restored the functionality and add our own custom style for this button. I believe that this example has upgraded your understanding of the matter, and I would like to stress on the fact that FireMonkey objects are inserted within the other controls, and that is FireMonkey style. And the style looks like a form from the viewpoint of the designer. And I can prove this. I've taken dark style as a file and have made some changes in its header, the header of this style file, and add some path file to simulate the form with the path file. And after such a trick, you can see that we have got something like a form with controls, but controls without names, and we'll discuss this fact later, how we title the controls in style. Something like that. I do believe that you have got the understanding what the style is and how it is applied to components in FireMonkey. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you very much. Now we've got everything, and I'd like to stress that FireMonkey components are not like the VCL components, and the structure of the component is not compiled, but is defined by the style style applied to the component. So let's go back to the slides and ask Eugene to answer some conceptual questions. Okay, we have seen how the style is applied and how it changes the look and feel of the component, and we have seen in what form as a text the style is represented and possibly stored. So FireMonkey style is a text like FMX, like text in FMX file, and now the question is what are the options for storage of styles? Yes, I quite agree that the style is like a form, but it's an invisible container. And if our application has no style at all, its components don't know how to draw themselves. So any application has a default style or style by default. So at least one style is a default style. It is stored in the application, and we sometimes call it basic style. And as FireMonkey is a platform for multi operating system support, at least 3 basic styles exist: Win style, Mac style, and iOS style. This default basic style is built in the application and stored in resource file. So if we have quite a workable application, it means that it already has a style. But if necessary, we can change the default style and add application.file style name, and it will cause of skipping default style and applying the style from an external file. So if you plan to use your unique style as a style by default for your application, you can easily do this. For example, your corporate style. Once again, application.style file name we can change to some external file, and it will be applied to all the controls of our application. We have one more option called style book. Of course, we can use the style book to change the whole style of all the components in the application. For example, you can add style book to the form and load, for example, dark style, and all the controls will use it. You can do this, but we designed style book component for different purposes. And in this case, we have all the style with all its attributes incorporated in the form. That can cause delay in loading the form and maybe other delays and lack of performance. I'd like to say that if we use a style in a style book, it means that our application has 2 styles because the default style doesn't disappear. And you know, the basic style should contain tens of components or substyles. So the main purpose of a style book is to change not all the style, but some particular look and feel for a group of or some components. But I'd better show you not to waste time. Once again, we are making a new application, and we're adding a button to an empty form. The application knows its style by default, and the button can draw itself. Let's save this application and make some test drive to see how the button is clicked. And of course, on Win and on Mac, the button will be shown differently. Let's first illustrate the changing of the style for the whole application. The best place is here before the initialization. We're setting some style file name for this, typing as we wish, and I guess you have noticed that I am a fan of dark style. If we make this, the default style will be taken from the external file. And please pay attention that this particular look and feel will be the same for all the platforms. So implicit default style depends on a platform, while the explicit default style like this is always the same. Now let's go back to the style book. Once located a component on a form, we can then change its style for this particular component by clicking right mouse button and select Edit Custom Style. Then we can see the style designer. We can open this particular style and see the structure of a button. And we can work with this style designer. And then we can use Object Inspector to make some changes in design of the component and style. We can, for example, change some colors in the animation to get the proper visual effects we like to have. Or, for example, change the font color. Oh, thank you, Eugene. That's great, because the question how to change the button text started from Delphi 1. Then you can see the style book component appeared on the form, and now the form knows that a style book is created. And the next use of the style designer goes to the same style book. And the property style lookup of the button is changed automatically. And this style lookup property is set to the string value, which was generated automatically. We have changed the custom style for the button, and this style was named and set to the style lookup property. Eugene, but if we have many buttons, but there we have no surprises. We have changed the style of the particular button, and other buttons remain intact. Let's save and run the application, and we see the changed button 1 and the other normal buttons. Eugene, but can you change the other buttons also? Yes, so we can freely customize any particular button we want to. Eugene, but how about spreading the existing custom style to the other button? Yes, we can either copy or just refer by style lookup name. Great example of selectivity of styling. But moreover, we can change the default style, and really difference is in naming. For example, some changes in style. Let's do something like changing the font color to blue, for example. The style name is button style. It's the basic principle for naming any style. And if we add just a new button with default, not custom style, we'll see that all the buttons are the same with blue text. That's because our style book has a changed default style. Eugene, that any new button will be the same. Sure, we have changed the default style. We substituted the default style, and style lookup remain the same. Once again, we have changed some object in the basic default style. But if we decide not to substitute the basic object and change the style to some custom name, we'll see that the all buttons become as they were before. But if you want to emulate or substitute the basic default style, you should pick the style name as for example, T button. We skip T and add style. Button style is a standard name for style. And that's how we change the basic default style. So that's the exact purpose of the style book. Some changes to a particular components. One more small but quite evident example. Thank you, Eugene. We can guess what you are doing at the moment. You're adding an image to the button. One more typical question. How to add some picture to a button? Quite typical question, and you are now answering it. And yes, okay, at the moment I'm changing the button style. That the button with this style will have an image, and I should change its alignment and load maybe some picture. You can see that I'm doing this example ad hoc, so no special bitmap. I'm just using some big standard picture. And now you can see after saving that all the buttons have images. So style book is designed to be used for small little customization. That style book is designed for slight little changes of look and feel and some adding of new features. And if you are going to teach yourself, please start from the style book and these simple techniques. Thank you, Eugene. Let me please summarize. So default style is built in the application. We don't know where it exists. We can keep small changes in the style book or global change of styles in the external file. You have just shown us how style fill the component with some content as we wish, text, images, etc., etc. But please once again tell us how a style is applied or loaded. Once again in details, please. When an object becomes visible, this object or control derived from T-styled control tries to apply some style. What does it mean? First, we need to define the name of style we are going to find. If the control has some style lookup value, not empty string, it's the starting point to find the appropriate style. If we have no lookup style name, we're using the standard technology. We take the component class name, delete the first letter T, and add the word style. But if the class is custom, we'll have something like my button style instead of T my button. or some figures can be also added, like 1, 2, 3, to identify the particular style. So we have the style name, and the system starts finding the style. First, we're trying to find the appropriate style in the style book on the form, if it exists. You could see this when I was changing the custom style of a button. And if we find the style in the style book, we will apply it. If not, we'll try to find the appropriate style with the proper name in the default style. If the application already has the loaded from the external file style, it will be used. If not, the application loads the default style from the application resources. And then the required style, for example, for a button, will be found in this loaded style. And now we have found the appropriate container. Then we clone it to get the content of a component, and thus we repeatedly filling our initially empty component with the internal objects. Then we align the components, the objects inside the initial container, our component, and then the properties of the component, for example text in button, finds the appropriate internal object text and change it, so thus making a final brushing. But if we change the style dynamically during runtime, at the zero stage all the components delete their content and they all became empty, and then stage 1 it all happens like applying the initial style to all the components. We are quite lucky, Eugene, that we shouldn't reload the application itself. It's even faster, as you needn't construct all the components, only visible ones. No, Vsevolod, don't worry, unless you have 10,000 visible buttons on the same form. Otherwise, you'll change the style quite fast. Thank you, Eugene, and please answer the next question, because as to me it was a very new information. I'm a newcomer in the Mac OS world, so for me many things are really new, but not for you, Eugene, as you confessed last time that you were a fan of Apple devices and software. And even now I think that all Mac applications look alike, and it's okay, they have now their specific look and feel and specific design. Please tell me, am I wrong? Good question, Vsevolod. I must explain. Yes, it's quite obvious opinion that Mac applications don't like skinning or special styling. I can't totally agree with this opinion. Let me first distinguish these two viewpoints. We all know the concept of skins, and many applications have skins sometimes and very often made by unprofessionals. And these skins have created a bad reputation of the concept of skinning and using styling interface. But in the Mac's world, skins are very popular. For example, native Apple's application calendar. This application has its own native style. I mean unique style, and many other small applications appeared in Lion OS, and many other purely Apple's applications like iMovie and iPhoto. These applications have their style, and Apple considers this style as a professional style, dark style. Yes, this style looks great, but this style is not available for third-party developers, not Apple developers. So styling of application is quite normal and quite popular in the Mac's world, and Apple uses this approach. Many Adobe applications have their own professional styling. These applications have their own corporate style, also dark style. I don't know about Windows version, but for Mac they definitely have dark style. It's rather okay, and this is well accepted by the audience. I can say that the main feature of Mac styling is the high level of professionalism of the applied styles. And in this case, the positive acceptance is guaranteed, and nobody will complain about the styling in Mac's world. Thank you, Eugene, and I can conclude that if you have no doubt in your ability to create a good design, do it, but otherwise you can use native Mac style and everything will be okay with your application. Yes, and one more example, iBook application. The level of styling is very high, and the application itself looks like a game. Yes, I can say that this is a mainstream, and yesterday I bought Adobe Photoshop Touch, and I have already played with this application and got more fun, and I can say as a professional that they didn't use the native controls, they used their own Adobe Air controls. And this application was proved and available, and I believe it will be a hit. And I mean that if an application is functionally qualitative, the styling can get the impression to a higher level. Styling is one more positive feature of your application. And we are quite relaxed because FireMonkey is in a full compliance with the concept you've just told us. Easily make with FireMonkey both native and unique styled application if we would like to. And now please tell us about what controls can use styles. Let's discuss in details. Okay, HD controls, they can be styled, and if a class is derived from T-style control, it's okay with his unique style. But I can develop my own FireMonkey component or take third-party component. Please tell us how will this new component interact with the FireMonkey styling mechanism. As I already told you, the derivation from T-style control class, the component be sensitive to styling effects. In the case of creating a new component, let's consider an example with our button, my button. It may be any component like button or edit or etc. And we created a new component and added our functionality without significant changes in the design. So we have a new component, tMyButton, and know the appropriate MyButton style for this. In this case of absence of the exact style, the styling system will try to find the style of the parent class. So we take the parent class tButton and try to find the style for tButton. Then we can find the style for tButton because it exists in the basic default style, and this style for tButton is applied to tMyButton component. And of course our new component looks like a common button and works fine. So we can say to developers, don't worry, just create your own components and your components will get the proper style. Any new components in FireMonkey got two additional properties, style name and style lookup. Eugene, could you please tell us once again how should we use these properties? Okay, let me explain. The FireMonkey styling system uses its own naming system, not to use the names of components and objects, and not to occasionally interfere with the basic Delphi mechanisms. So FireMonkey naming system has its own naming technology and search engine. If the object has a style name property, it's an indication to FireMonkey styling system that this object can be used as a style, and its content will be cloned if this style is used by another component. And style lookup property allows the styling system to find the appropriate style for this particular component with the style lookup set to some string. So the sequence is as following. First, the styling system tries to find the style for the particular component from the current style book. If it fails, it then tries to find the style in the default style, and after this the system searches through the global pool of styles. This global pool is formed from the objects with a style name, and this is the mechanism of styling, allowing to work different styles within the same application as I have already shown. And please note that style lookup is available for classes with parent t-styled control. So it means that the classes can use some style. But style name is available for classes which can be used as the styles, like for example rectangle. Okay, thank you, Eugene. So it means that rectangle, for example, can be used as a style, but it is enabled to use some style. It has a style name, but it doesn't have style lookup, and that's okay. Consider a more complicated example. Let's consider a list box item. This list box item has a property text, and we can use this property to customize the item. So instead of common list box item text, we can use any our custom control with a checkbox, for example, or maybe small button. So this complicated composite object will be used as a style, so with its content cloned and loaded into list box item. And maybe the last question for today's session. Please tell us from where to start and show us the limits not to go further and obtain strange results. First, I'd recommend to reproduce my demos during this session, and then maybe to make some little customization of controls, not to try to do the whole style from scratch. But if you are going to make your own style, you should deeply understand all the FireMonkey objects and know their functionality. It means that before making your own style, you should play with the FireMonkey objects, animation objects, some to know how effects work. So be cool in FireMonkey on the whole, or you can make some slight changes to already existing styles. As to common sense, maybe some pieces of advice. First, not to use style book for loading many big styles and keep them in it. It's senseless. Use application style file name instead. You can try your own style for a button, for example, but please don't push many controls, including buttons themselves, into the same control, or use maybe some list boxes within a button, for example. Be wise, and please don't try to solve all the functional tasks using styling only. So do remember that there is a possibility to input some code and compiled code in the code of the form itself. Don't rely fully on styles. Styling in FireMonkey is a very powerful, but not the only capability to create interfaces. And if you are already strong in FireMonkey and know the objects by heart, you can start making your own style. But as to me, the best tool is just a text editor. So you should program the style rather than creating it using visual tools. Like HTML designers, sometimes professional designers use just a text editor and input HTML code, taking into account and taking in mind the visual effects and layouts and what they will get. How can you be sure that you are ready to start making your own style? You can just open any existing style in a text editor, and if you understand what is written, you are ready, and you can start from changing some features just in text. In text editor, like in a program code, we understand and see any line. While when using with visual tools, you can add many effects which can hide each other and make a mess. You can contact with Eugene and me, and if you want to ask something from Eugene, please use my contacts, because Eugene is very busy and I am a little filter for questions. And we, Embarcadero, try our best to be in contact with you and let you work effectively with FireMonkey without some probe and mistakes method we try to explain as deep as possible and invite Eugene for that, and we believe you are rather satisfied with our events. Yes, thank you Sevalot for the invitation, and I believe this is not the last webinar, and please send your questions and we'll make more webinars. Thank you very much.